Hello everybody, Wannabe Reviewer here, and welcome back to the Wannabe Podcast, episode 19. Before I begin, I just want to throw it out there that while I'm not entirely sure yet, I honestly think that this episode is probably going to be kind of short, alright? First of all, this week I didn't do very much. I mean, for any of you who tuned in last week, I said that I was in the middle of trying to get through Kingdom Hearts. I was playing a lot of that game. And yeah, this week it was basically the same. I spent a lot of time on that game. I did complete it, which I'll talk about in a moment, but that took up a big part of my week. Not only that, but work, kind of picked up again, so I've been busy there, haven't had as much free time as I would like. And looking over at the news stories, while there are some pretty good news stories, I feel like all of them are pretty surface level, stories. I feel like there's not really much to talk about and dive into. So yeah, I just feel like this episode might be kind of short, but hopefully you guys don't mind, Diving into my week, like I said, didn't do very much. For instance, I didn't read any new manga, unfortunately. However, something that I did want to talk about is that I had been told by actually a couple of people that in their country, the Manga Master App that lets you, read through manga and all that, apparently it was down in their country. Apparently it just got, taken away or whatever. And so really quick, I just wanted to say that for those of you who are interested, if you haven't found a new app to read manga on, Manga Master actually released, a new version of their app on the App Store. I mean, I went ahead and downloaded it. And yeah, this new version, it looks really similar to the old one. The only difference I can really see is that, some of the UI is a little bit different, and not only that, but it gives you different sources you can choose from whenever you want to read manga. It gives you 4 different choices of who you want to read it from. So yeah, I mean, for any of you who haven't found a new app but are interested in reading manga, that might be worth a look. So just want to throw that out there. When it comes to anime, hopefully for next week, I hope to start it's not a new anime, it's on its 5th episode, but I've heard some pretty good things about Rise of the Shield Hero. I believe that's what it's called, Rise of the Shield Hero. I've heard some pretty good things about it, and so I'm hoping to check that out, hopefully in time for next week's podcast, so I can give my thoughts on it. Besides that, I've just been watching the same anime I've mentioned before. I've been enjoying all of them. I think they're all really good. So if you've heard me talk about anime in the past weeks, just keep checking those out. When it comes to video games, haven't played anything new yet. As I said, Kingdom Hearts 3 took a lot of these last 2 weeks. However, I did finish Kingdom Hearts 3, and I guess I did have some thoughts to share on it. I guess the best way to sum it up is that while I do think the game was definitely worth it, and I definitely enjoyed every second of it, I can admit it has some flaws, alright? For instance, one thing that I would consider a flaw is that it is kind of easy, honestly. I don't know, not that other Kingdom Hearts games have been insanely hard, they're not Dark Souls or anything, but I did feel like that was a bit of a challenge, and there was certain, boss moves that you had to kind of get used to, so you could strategize how you would defeat the bosses. And here I just felt that the game was pretty easy, honestly. I think I only died maybe twice, very close to the beginning, and that was my fault because I was being really careless. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is really easy, honestly. And I know a lot of people were bothered by that because they wanted a bit more challenge. So I mean, that's kind of a downside. Another downside is that some of the Disney worlds feel kind of awkward in terms of their story. While the Pixar worlds are great, and I think the integration of the characters and the story into the Kingdom Hearts lore was really well done, some of the Disney worlds were a bit awkward. While interactions between the Disney characters and the Kingdom Hearts characters were still really good, it was just really weird how a lot of the Disney plot just seems to happen off screen. For instance, in the Kingdom of Corona, which is the Rapunzel level, you get separated from Rapunzel and Flynn Rider at one point, and then when you see them again, Rapunzel is referring to Flynn by his real name, and she seems to know all about him being a thief, apparently, or something. And it's really weird because you never see any of that on screen. And it's you're supposed to know how the movie goes. And like I said, if you haven't seen the movie, that's kind of awkward. Same thing with Pirates of the Caribbean. Kingdom Hearts 2 had the first Pirates of the Caribbean, world and story. And here we skip to the third Pirates movie. And they never really explain what happened between the movies. It's like you're just supposed to know the story already. And you're supposed to know who Davy Jones is. Which is like weird because he shows up like one time before you fight him in a boss battle. So like, I don't know. Once again, for anyone who hasn't seen the Pirates movie, they're gonna be really confused, which is like really weird. So yeah, I thought the Disney plots happening off screen was weird. I thought the game being too easy. You know, I could see that being a problem for some people. I thought that some of the characters were not handled the best. I mean, well, I get that the main character is Sora. I don't know. I just wish that some other characters had gotten a chance to do more things in the story. I feel like basically they just focus on him and he basically does everything. And while it would have been kind of cool to, maybe play as some other people or see them do like more for the story, some people just kind of got pushed aside, which kind of sucked, especially some of like the female characters. I don't know. It feels like they don't really have as much agency as they should, which was kind of lame, honestly. But yeah, besides that, I mean, like I said, there is some nitpicks here and there. But I did really enjoy the game. I had a ton of fun with it. And there's a secret movie at the end of the game that seems to hint at like crazier, bigger things to come. And so I am definitely excited for that. All right. The creator has always said he wants to like do more and that this is just going to be the end of a certain chapter. And so I'm definitely excited to see what the next chapter brings. Hopefully the game doesn't take another like 15 years or whatever. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I recommend it. You probably need to do some homework so you can catch up with the story, but I think you will enjoy the game because it is a really awesome, fun game. So moving on, I did watch a movie recently, which if you go and check out my channel, I actually did a review of, and that is the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. And, I talk about it in my review, but I guess I can give a quick summary here. I went in thinking that, I don't know, like I always say I'm not much of a Dragon Ball fan, but I mean, I guess that's kind of a lie since I do follow like Team 4-Star, who does an abridged series, and I have watched like the majority of the Dragon Ball movies, and I did watch a good part of Dragon Ball Super, especially the Tournament of Power. So I don't know, I guess you can say as a minor fan, I went in just excited to see Saiyans punch each other, basically. I mean, when you go watch Dragon Ball, you don't expect a deep story or deep character motivations. You kind of just expect cool flashy fights. And so when I heard about this movie coming out, me and a couple of friends went, and I don't know, I was just expecting to have a good time watching some cool fights, and I was really interested to see how they would make Broly canon for the first time, and I don't know, just stuff like that, right? Like I went in with pretty low expectations. Excited to see the movie, but pretty low expectations. And honestly, I was just super surprised when I walked out, because even though the movie isn't the deepest thing ever, it does have like more story and character going on than like the series has ever done. Like the first half, maybe like third of the movie is all this lore into like the Saiyan homeworld of Planet Vegeta, and we get all this like backstory to like the main characters and to all the characters that were important at the time, like Goku's dad and Vegeta's dad, and we see a young Frieza taking over planet like Vegeta for the first time. And I don't know, we get all this really interesting backstory, and we get like a more in-depth look at the homeworld, which is really cool because we've seen bits and pieces, but we've never seen like this much. So like that was fun. And then when we get introduced to Broly, I mean, in the original, versions that we've seen of him that are apparently non-canon now, he was always just this fighting machine whose like motivations were terrible. I mean, basically he hated Goku because as a baby, Goku cried next to him or something dumb like that. And like that was his whole motivation for being evil or whatever. And here, Broly is this like really complex, tragic figure where basically since birth, he's had like too much power for his own good, and because of that he kind of gets exiled to this like desolate planet, and his dad's with him, and because of how they got exiled, his dad learns to like hate Saiyans, and he teaches Broly to hate Saiyans, and he basically trains Broly 24/7, and he kind of like abuses him to an extent. And so Broly's basically like this caged animal that is just used to fighting, and all he knows is fighting, and he doesn't know what it is to have like friends or anything. And so when two Frieza Force soldiers called Chile and Limo find, Broly and his dad Paragus on this planet, and they bring him to Frieza, like, that's where you kind of see, that despite Broly being stupid strong, he doesn't want to fight, but he doesn't know anything better. And I don't know, I don't want to go too in depth, but from there, Broly faces off against Goku and Vegeta. And because his dad's taught him to hate Saiyans his whole life, he wants to take him down, and they get into a huge fight. And as with any other Dragon Ball movie, it's super over the top and it's super flashy and stuff. But I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought the way that, the art direction was really impressive. Like, there's a section where Broly's just fighting Goku and it takes a first person perspective, which is really interesting. I don't know, the way they use their moves is really creative. And yeah, just the way that the way the story goes was really interesting, and the way the movie ends off was really cool. Where I'm really excited to see the future of, I don't know, will Broly make an appearance in the future? I hope so, based on how it left off. And I just really enjoyed the movie. Like I said, I was really impressed. I didn't expect that much from it, and it definitely gave me more than I expected. So if you guys haven't seen the movie, I would suggest watching it. I know it's not available in all theaters in all areas, but if it's available in your area, I would say support it. And if not, I don't know, just wait and you'll probably be able to stream it or something. But when you have a chance, I would say watch it because it's really good. So. And there you go. Told you guys my week was short. That's literally all I have to talk about. So without further ado, let's move over to the news, I guess. The first news story that I want to talk about, it's actually a really funny coincidence because I have Kickstarted stuff before. And I guess as part of being on Kickstarter, at one point I must have checked a box that says for them to send me emails about projects every so often. And so they sent me a message about a Kickstarter that had just gone live. And it's for a game called Summer in Mara. All right. And when I looked at this little project and, looked at the trailer and the information, all that good stuff, I don't know. I really like the game. I think it looks really cute, and I'm considering backing it. It has 3 days left, I think, something like that. And it was funny because, like I said, I saw this, I liked it. I thought to myself, hey, I'm going to back this as soon as I get paid again, and I'm going to try to tell everybody, either on my channel or on the podcast about it. And then, lo and behold, I go looking for news articles to talk about this week, and one of them is for the exact same game I had just looked at the day before. So I just thought that was really funny. And so basically, yeah, I'll read the little description. Summer in Mara is an adventure at your own pace. Take care of your island and customize it as you want. Explore an open ocean full of places to travel and people to meet and trade with. Set in a tropical ocean, Summer in Mara is a single-player game about farming and crafting, with an easy RPG system and exploration elements. You'll be Koa, a little adventurer who has to take care of her own island. And the game goes on, but I think you kind of get the idea. As it says in the key features, more than 150 quests to make the world a better place, over 20 characters to meet and trade with, more than 130 inventory items to craft, trade, and use, improve your boat, make it bigger and faster, unlock and acquire new skills and abilities, day and night cycle with climate events. So looking at the trailer and kind of looking at the information for the game, it's not exactly the same thing, but I think the best way you can kind of describe it is it kind of reminds me of Stardew Valley, At least that type of game. While Stardew Valley, though, is a farm, this is an island. But if you look at the pictures and stuff, I don't know, it reminds me of Stardew Valley because Stardew Valley wasn't just focused on farming. You also explore the town, talk to people, befriend them. You could go explore the mine and you can have little battles down there. And there's a lot of crafting and stuff. And I don't know, Stardew Valley just has so much going on. And this game, from what I've seen, kind of reminds me of that, It has RPG elements, it has traveling around and exploration, it has, stuff you can do to take care of your island and grow crops and stuff. And I don't know, it's the kind of thing you have to see for yourself. I might not be explaining it right, especially because I don't know all the information about it, but I would say definitely check it out, guys, and look at the trailer. The art is really cute, it's really well done, and based on what I've seen, the game looks really interesting. If it's even half the game that Stardew Valley is, then I think it's worth backing and I think it's worth playing. I've had a ton of fun with games like Stardew Valley and Harvest Moon and, Animal Crossing. I just think they're very peaceful, very chill games. And this looks like it's kind of in that same style, And not only that, but while all those games are mostly, like I said, about farming and staying on land, the fact that this one lets you explore and like, you know, you're on a boat exploring the seas, I think that's really interesting as well. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to try to back it the next time I get paid. I would say check it out. I mean, maybe you guys fall in love with it the same way I do, but it's called Summer of Mara. And if you're interested, the link in the description below takes you to the article where you can like read about it. But then from there, it could also take you to the Kickstarter. So I would say check it out, guys. Speaking of which, while Summer of Mara is something that I would love to back, there's this other Kickstarter that I am not interested in at all. And basically, as this article states, Bubsy Paws on Fire launches in April. DLC Kickstarter campaign launches February 5th. So yeah, if you guys remember, not too far back, I talked about how Bubsy Paws on Fire was a game that had been announced. And I don't know, for anyone who doesn't know, Bubsy is this really annoying like 3D platforming mascot. He's this bobcat that wears like a shirt with an exclamation point on it and like some sneakers, and he's really annoying. Like all his punchlines and one-liners are really bad, and the games haven't been that great. I mean, like there's an infamous one for, God, I don't even remember what system it is at this point, but like the first time he tried to go 3D, his game is just like a piece of garbage. Like it's infamous, all right? And he got a revival not too long ago, and I don't remember what the game was called. I think it was called like Bubsy, something about like enemies that are woolly, right? It's supposed to be like a play on like wool, and that game was terrible. I mean, it cost like $30 or $40, and you could literally beat it like in like 2 hours. Like it was really bad, really badly designed, super short. And somehow, against all odds, Bubsy's still kicking and he has a new game coming out. And so basically, while the game comes out in April, like for sure it's coming out, for whatever reason, the people making the game are launching a Kickstarter campaign for DLC. And so if you read the article, it says, the Kickstarter campaign was supposed to have gone live on February 5th, and it's seeking $25,000 in funding for post-launch downloadable content, which includes 2 new Bubsy costumes and more Bubsy in-game chatter. Stretch goals include new costumes, a secret mysterious playable character you'll never be able to guess, new levels, and a new boss. Kickstarter backer rewards include game codes, downloadable content, soundtrack, a limited edition of the game, you know, all that good stuff. And yeah, I mean, I don't understand how Bubsy is still living. You know, I don't understand who is playing these games and I would hope that no one is backing this Kickstarter. But honestly, I'm afraid to check because I know people are crazy, you know, different strokes for different folks. And I am sure there is someone who's backed it at this point. So I don't even want to see it because I just know it's going to make me facepalm so hard. But I just thought I'd share this story, guys, because like, if you know anything about video games, you know about Bubsy, then you know why this story is just so facepalm worthy, you know? Like the fact that they're trying to launch DLC for a series this terrible is just, it's incredible. And like I said, the fact that people are probably going to back it is just really sad. There you have it, though. If you love Bubsy, there's a Kickstarter that you can back, I guess. So there you go. The last video game news story that I want to talk about is that apparently there is a new Titanfall-based free-to-play game called Apex Legends that is now available for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And yeah, I heard about this story a couple days ago, maybe more than a couple days ago, and I have some pretty mixed feelings on it. On the one hand, I have heard some pretty positive response from it. People who have played it have said that it's actually fun to play. It's actually pretty good. So, I mean, that's nice, I guess. But then on the other hand, like just seeing these trends that come and go and seeing how companies try so hard to jump onto these bandwagons, I don't know, it's just depressing. I don't really know how to describe the feeling. But basically, for anyone who doesn't know, there's a studio called Respawn Entertainment who made these games called Titanfall. And Titanfall are some really good, I mean, especially the second game. The first game was a little bit rough, I'll admit. But Titanfall 2 is this great game because there's all this like mech combat and there's all these moves you can do. I don't know, like it's hard to describe. If you haven't seen the game, go check it out. it just has this really unique gameplay and all this crazy stuff that you don't really see anywhere else. And not only that, but the single player for Titanfall 2 is also really good. I mean, it's a really good, really fun experience. And so, I don't know. All that aside, the point is, I really enjoyed, especially Titanfall 2. I thought it was a really good game. And people have been waiting for Titanfall 3. And they've been wondering when Respawn Entertainment is gonna make Titanfall 3. Unfortunately, Respawn Entertainment belongs to EA. And EA is known to be a company that is full of microtransactions, and they don't really have a lot of integrity when it comes to making games. And so a lot of people are disappointed because it seems like Apex Legends was made instead of Titanfall 3. Like I said, I don't know if it's been, I don't know if there's an update to this. Last I had heard, it seems like Titanfall 3 got canceled in favor of making this free-to-play game. And so that's why a lot of people are upset, because not only did the game they wanted to see get canceled, but it got canceled in favor of chasing the trend. Because Apex Legends is a battle royale style game that, of course, because it's EA, is going to have microtransactions. And not only that, but it totally ditches all the cool mech stuff. And so, I don't know, like I said, a lot of people just have really mixed feelings. You know, like you want to see a certain type of game, but because companies are so greedy for money and they want to like jump on the bandwagon, they cancel games and they focus on battle royale stuff because that's what's popular. And I don't know, it just feels dirty, you know? And like I said, it might be old news. By now, maybe it's been updated. Maybe Titanfall 3 is still in the works. But if it's not, then, you know, can you really blame people for being upset? I mean, it sucks that a game they wanted to see got canceled, got totally turned into this other thing. And yeah, I mean, will this game even take off? I mean, I don't know, maybe not. I mean, if you have Call of Duty Battle Royale and Fortnite and PUBG, I don't really know if this thing's gonna really be a hit, but I don't know, I guess we'll see. And like I said, it's just weird, you know, because I hate that video game companies keep doing this where they chase after trends, but I don't know. I mean, if people keep playing the games, then it makes sense that video game companies are going to do this because it seems to prove them right. So, yeah. Moving on, this next news story is all about how the Avatar sequels are set to start filming their live action scenes this spring. So, not gonna lie, every time I see news for like the Avatar sequels, I totally like makes me go like, oh yeah, I forgot the Avatar movies were a thing. So I don't know. I mean, this news story is just really weird because at this point, is anyone even still interested in the Avatar movies? You know, like the first movie I'm reading here, it was back in 2009. So it's been 10 years and they've been struggling to get the films going this whole time. And I just don't know if anyone cares at this point. And especially because like supposedly they say it's going to be like part 2, 3, 4, and 5 that they're filming back to back. And so I don't know, man. I just think that's a crazy story. Like I said, I don't even know who's interested in Avatar anymore at this point. But yeah, if you're excited for more Avatar, like I said, Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5 are in the works. So I don't know. Keep an eye out for that, I guess, if you're interested in more Avatar. Speaking of movies that are having trouble getting made, according to this next news story, apparently World War Z 2, it's dead, according to this. Apparently, you know, they've been struggling to make a part 2 to World War Z for a while. Like, even though it did make a bunch of money, they've just had trouble with, like, the plot and, like, the budget and that sort of thing. And so, yeah, I mean, if you read into the article, it seems like it's pretty much dead. It seems like they pulled the plug on the project. And yeah, I mean, Brad Pitt's upset. And I'm sure that there's other people who like the movie who are upset. But honestly, I didn't think World War Z was that interesting. I thought it was kind of a dumb story. And from what I've seen people who read the book, you know, their opinion, they also didn't really like the movie. They thought it was really weird too, because it takes like a whole other direction. So, I mean, I would say good riddance. You know, like I said, I personally don't care. I know there's a lot of people who are probably also like happy that it got canceled because it had nothing to do with the book. But I don't know. Then again, there's probably people who were looking forward to it. So, I mean, that sucks for them, but it is what it is, you know? While I am not interested in all in World War Z, this next news story is something that I am interested in because I am very curious how this is going to turn out. So what I'm talking about is that this article says that The Room's Tommy Wiseau is reportedly working on a new film called Big Shark. So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Tommy Wiseau is the director slash writer slash producer slash actor slash, whatever of a little film called The Room, which is a movie that I've talked about on my channel before that is so bad, it's good, all right? Like, it's a movie that just fails so hard that you can't help but be endeared to it because, like, I don't know, it's just so bad and so not self-aware that you just kind of, it circles around and you kind of love it, And so I've talked about The Room before. I've talked about Greg Sesterio's memoir, The Disaster Artist, before, which is, his accounts dealing with Tommy and filming the film. And I've also talked about The Disaster Artist, which is the movie adaptation of the memoir. And so I have a bit of a history with Tommy Wiseau and his works. And so hearing that there's another movie in the works, yeah, I'm really curious how it's going to work. I mean, apparently reading through the article, it says that last weekend, Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero attended a screening of The Room at Prince Charles's Cinema in London. And apparently during a QA, he released like a little mini teaser trailer for his new film. And apparently like the plot for it is that it takes place in New Orleans and there's like this killer shark. And it's about how 3 firefighters are trying to save the world, I guess. And I don't know. Let's see. It says that it has a possible release date of this September. I mean, that remains to be seen. And I just don't know. I mean, well, I would love to see more stuff directed and starring Tommy Wiseau. I just don't know if they could capture that magic again. That's what worries me. Like, I'm worried about being let down because The Room was so great because it was so sincere, And I don't know, trying to make another movie, I don't know if it's going to come out as like trying too hard. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of struggling for words a little bit, but yeah, I'm just really curious. Will it be another so bad it's good movie, or will it be mediocre this time? I mean, will it come off as an attempt to try to capture the magic again and fail? Who knows? But I'm definitely looking forward to it because I am super curious what another movie from the mind of Tommy Wiseau will look like. So keep an eye out for it, folks. Finally, the last news story that I want to talk about is that apparently Amazon's Dark Tower TV show will start filming in April. So, I mean, it wasn't a very big video, but at one point I did a review of the Dark Tower movie starring Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey. And even though I haven't read the book series, I, did some research on it. And the Dark Tower is supposed to be like this 7-novel series that's supposed to be basically Stephen King's magnum opus. It's supposed to be like this dark fantasy, and it's supposed to have so much stuff going on. It's supposed to be like rich in characters and world and detail and all this good stuff. And even though I haven't read the books, even me as a non-fan, I knew that the movie that came out wasn't great. It just felt so rushed, and it felt really, I don't know, it just felt weird. It just felt off. And, looking into it and looking at reviews, people who have read the books were really disappointed because they felt that too many things were changed. And the fact that 7 books were put into one movie, I mean, it was too rushed and too many things were dropped and all that good stuff. And Stephen King himself, he responded saying that he kind of understood now why it failed. And apparently that's why he is really involved in this movie and this TV adaptation, because he says that he really wants to steer it in the right direction. And yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen how the show ends up, but I don't know. Number one, I think that them adapting it into a TV series is a good idea, because I feel like any time that a book is adapted into a movie, I mean, too much is cut off. You just have to like really rush through it. But from what I've seen on Netflix of adapting stuff like Series of Unfortunate Events, and I guess to an extent like 13 Reasons Why and Watership Down, I mean, when you adapt something from a book to a TV series, I guess all the episodes, do give you more room to work with. It's a longer length thing. So I don't know. I'm interested. I really hope that it does good. I really hope that's more faithful to the book series. And with Stephen King, saying that he doesn't take a big part in this, hopefully he can help steer it in the right direction. I guess we'll see in the future when this finally comes out, so. Alright everybody, and with that being said, that brings us to the end of another news week. As always, hopefully there was something you guys found interesting, entertaining, I don't know, hopefully you guys learned something new, that sort of thing. And yeah, like I said, I feel like that was, I don't know, I feel like I really rushed through those stories, but I don't know, I just didn't have much to say about a bunch of them. Unlike other stories from other weeks, I feel like these were a little bit more surface level, and I didn't feel like I could really get as in depth, but I don't know, I guess it just is what it is, you know? Moving on to the last section of the podcast, it's time for the Content Creator Spotlight, and this week's content creator is a little channel with 646 subscribers called It's All Fun and Games. And It's All Fun and Games, so while there's video game reviews, he also does analysis of video game content. Like for instance, at the end of last year, beginning of this year, he did a list about the best games and biggest disappointments of 2018. He's done videos. It's a pretty new series where he talks about different Japanese imports, which that's really interesting. Let's see here. I'm trying to scroll through his videos so you guys kind of get an idea of what he does. A few months ago, he did a video where he talks about why water levels suck. So I thought that was really interesting. And let's see. He also did a video that was the top 10 games that deserve a sequel, you know? So that was really cool. And so, yeah, I mean, definitely big focus on gaming content, but within gaming content, he does different things, you know? He does reviews, he does analysis, he does lists, he does talking about Japanese imports, that sort of thing. And I definitely recommend you guys check him out. I think that he has some really good content because honestly, I feel like all his videos are really professional. I think his editing is really good. And just the content he talks about is really interesting and really diverse. So I don't know if you guys have any interest in video game reviews and analysis and imports and, rare games, that sort of thing, I suggest checking out his channel. And yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this, It's All Fun and Games, I think you have an awesome channel. I always really enjoy going onto your channel and checking out your videos. That new series you started not too long ago about the Japanese imports, I love watching that. I feel like every time you make a video and I watch it, I feel like I learned something new. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. You just have some really good stuff. Like last time you covered Klonoa, and that was really interesting because I feel like nobody ever talks about that game. I feel like it's super underrated. So I was super impressed to hear you talk about it. And yeah, just besides that, I hope you continue to make videos. And yeah, keep up the good work, dude. I really like your channel. And I really hope that you get more subscribers and views in the future. So, And yeah, guys, so like I said, check out his channel and give him some love, If you like his stuff, please consider subscribing and let him know that Wannabe Reviewer sent you. So, yeah. And that, of course, brings us to the end. That is one more podcast in the bag. Definitely is a shorter episode. Like I said, Kingdom Hearts took so much of my time last week and this week that I feel like I haven't really done anything, and work has just been picking up again, so I feel like I haven't really had as much free time to dive into a lot of media the way I like. But I don't know. Hopefully, wish me the best. Hopefully work isn't too rough on me. And now that Kingdom Hearts is out of the way, hopefully I can watch more new anime and read new manga, that sort of thing, so I have more content to bring to you guys, as I've been doing for these last few podcasts. My name is Wannabe Reviewer. You can check me out on YouTube. My channel's called Wannabe Reviewer, where I do all sorts of reviews, as well as this podcast. Speaking of the podcast, you can catch it on YouTube, as well as SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and Stitcher. And if you're wondering what social media you can catch me on, you can catch me over on Twitter as at wannabe_review. You guys can find me on Tumblr as Wannabe Reviewer, and you guys can even find me on Twitch, which, speaking of, I was actually testing out my internet, last week as I was playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I was doing a little bit of streaming without really telling anybody, and the internet seemed like it was holding up pretty well. So hopefully in the future I can do some streaming. I think that would really be fun, but I'll keep you guys updated, When it comes to what's coming up this week on the channel, I don't have any idea yet. As I said, I feel like I haven't really been able to really dive into anything besides Kingdom Hearts and that Broly movie, you know, that I had been hoping to talk about for a while. But we'll see. Hopefully I have a new video on the channel. I think I've been doing pretty good on having like one video a week at least. So we'll see how that goes. And besides that, I mean, there's not really much else to say. My name is Wannabe Reviewer, and I'll catch you guys next time.